what Argentum is your voice amplified.
The best way for our industry to speak for ourselves is to actually speak for ourselves. And the best way to do that is through Argentum and through our grassroots advocacy efforts.
An association like Argentum is really important because they really become the industry face to the elected officials and the policymakers.
The senior living industry is facing its most significant challenges in its history. That's why Argentum is leading the way to passionately advocate for the industry across the country at both the state and federal level, a role that proved to be critical during the pandemic.
As COVID-19 forced all businesses to transform at unprecedented speed globally, no industry has acted more heroically or efficiently than senior living to protect its residents and staff. Despite smart and innovative action from the industry's frontline workers to top executives, the impact of COVID has been significant.
It's really been devastating to many in the senior living industry as a whole, and the reason is because they have really been left on their own to help provide the protection that seniors need in the pandemic. They were the ones who worked to follow all CDC guidelines, get the PPE that they needed to protect their residents, reconfigure their locations, how they provide care for seniors, implement all the testing, implement the vaccinations, and they have very little help from the federal government.
But Argentum has fought tirelessly to defend the industry, spearheading the charge to gain billions of dollars and needed assistance from Washington.
That's what we pledge to you, that we will continue this fight until all assisted living facilities get the relief that they deserve.
Some of the impact we've had as we've been reaching out to policymakers is, first and foremost, they're starting to understand exactly what senior living is. Typically, we've been considered to be part of the long-term care sector, more specifically nursing homes. And really, we've had to educate lawmakers on the differences between what we do and what others in the long-term care sector do. That's ultimately resulted in some financial relief for the industry, and we anticipate more relief in the future. But it's also going to result in opportunities for us to develop policy programs that meet our workforce challenges, as well as help to develop future elements for the industry.
Argentum, the nation's largest national association exclusively dedicated to supporting companies operating senior living communities, is making headway in establishing smart and balanced policy and regulation on a host of critical long-term issues.
You need a regulatory model that demands excellence on the one hand, but allows innovation. And finding that balance between those two, that's at the heart of what Argentum's advocacy is about. We have been advocates for common sense implementation of OSHA standards, common sense implementation of infection control standards.
Argentum is also advocating for innovative and practical government support in the area of workforce development.
We're the single most successful private pay care delivery model in the history of the country, but we're going to need support from policymakers to make sure that we've got the pipeline of talent that we need to meet those needs, as well as the opportunity to continue to provide services and care to those millions of seniors.
Argentum is your voice in Washington. It's your voice at a state level with your state association. But collectively, our voice will be something that is so incredibly strong.
As an individual operator, you can only have so much influence, but when somebody's talking for the industry, and an organization like Argentum becomes a great melting pot of all ideas, and they become sort of a clearinghouse, which helps us as an industry change and then create the message to the policymakers of what has to happen, why it's different, let's say, now and in the future than it was 15 years ago.
And Argentum's influence is getting stronger with the support of its growing grassroots efforts.
One of the programs we've outlined or released recently has been the Argentum Advocates program. Anybody in the industry can join, whether you're a paying dues member of the organization or not. You can join our grassroots initiative and ultimately reach out to members of Congress, host members of Congress in your community, ultimately educate them about what senior living is and what our challenges and needs are moving forward.
When you look your congressman in the eye and tell them about the seniors that you represent, the care that you provide these seniors, and how you've been so left behind in federal relief, that's when telling your story is how we make that connection and how we make our efforts actionable. We need to unite together.
Argentum is acting now to shape legislation that will advance the industry. With all hands on deck, Argentum sees tremendous opportunities to improve the industry like never before.
We have the ability now to help shape that legislation, to help you provide the care for your seniors. And we can do that again if we join together. So please join us, be an Argentum advocate. We really look forward to working with you.